guys, and welcome to this video. Today I'm going to share a few things that I don't like about New York City. Since we've been visiting, today is our last day and I thought I would end it with the negatives. Number one, the thing to know about New York is that it does not smell good. Now granted, I understand that this is a heat wave so far in New York, so we've had unprecedented heat, and then you have, garbage and stuff like that that's in the sun that really tends to smell bad normally, but then when it's like 32-35 degrees, it's even worse. Then number two, there's a lot of weed. It's like everywhere you go, you are going to smell it. You smell it on people, you smell it on the sidewalks, you smell it in buildings. It's actually insane. I'm shocked. I'm actually still shocked that it is so prevalent, and there are tons of shops that are selling it, but more so it's the smell that you get everywhere that really surprises me. So that is something to also note, is that you're probably going to be smelling weed more than anything else, and that brings me to the point of that the air quality is also not good. So New York is a massive city because there are so many cars, and there's tons of buildings and skyscrapers that need to keep the building itself cool. So you have a lot of these heating fans and equipment, and everything gives off heat. So at the end of the day, the heat, the air, it all combines and it feels really stuffy. It feels very claustrophobic. When we actually went to DC, we noticed a huge difference in the air quality. So that is something else. The quality of the air is not good, and that is something you should just be prepared for. The food quality. So if you are having takeaway food, you have to be prepared for it to be quite unhealthy. Now, I'm comparing with the food from Sweden, and I'm comparing with the food from South Africa, and the food in New York is much worse in terms of health quality. It drips in oil. You can actually taste the fat. You can taste I almost want to say the unhealthiness is tangible as you eat it. So just be prepared that, it's going to be quite a few calories. I mean, on the other hand, the good thing is that almost everywhere tells you exactly how many calories every meal has. So if you go to a Chick-fil-A and you buy a burger, it's going to tell you how many calories that is, which is good. So you are aware, but it's also shocking because it's a lot of calories. And the pizza, the pasta, even tacos, we ate Los Tacos, it was dripping with oil. So all of these are takeaway options though, so you just have to keep that in mind, that if you're getting takeaway, it's not going to be healthy. And I'm not even sure, technically sitting in an Italian restaurant and eating like spaghetti and meatballs is not really takeaway, but it is really oily. So that being said though, there are many places you can choose alternative foods where you want to get something healthy. You can go get a salad, or you can get a poke bowl or that kind of thing. And there are a lot of places, you just have to go out and look for them. So yeah, that's something to also keep in mind. And the prices. So we're coming from Sweden, and just when we arrived, actually the dollar had gone up, so we ended up paying a lot more for a lot of things, and I guess it just depends where you're coming from. Maybe if you're coming from Europe and you have the euro or something, it would be better, or even the UK where you're using pounds. But for us, it was very steep. The prices of food, even clothes, like everything that you're buying is really expensive, and there's a sales tax on a lot of items, including the food items. I think also have sales tax. Your hotel has tax that they put on your bill, so it's expensive. New York City is expensive, but when we went to Washington as well, we noticed it's equivalently as expensive. So the food in general, I would say for us, it was quite expensive. And the food in Sweden is not cheap. I've never thought it's cheap. Coming from South Africa, I've always thought that the food in Sweden was really expensive. But then when we compare to New York, I realized that it's actually not that expensive. And so that is definitely something to keep an eye on. Make sure that you understand how much you're going to pay per day for food. I would say that we are paying, if we have to average out the different days, on some days we haven't had breakfast, but if we have to average out, I would say we're spending about 1,500 SEK a day, which is 150 euros per day on food if we have 3 meals per day. And in some places, if you're going to a fancy restaurant, you kind of you have to be able to tip. Oh, that's another thing as well. When it comes to food, you really have to be aware that you're going to be tipping everywhere. So I think it's between 18 and 22 or 25%, and there's different ranges, and you usually can choose. Some places add the tip on as a suggestion, but then you're able to remove it if you really don't want to give that tip, but they already put it into the bill. And then a lot of places will ask you, even if you're going to get a bagel at a counter in a coffee shop and it's just the person behind the counter that's giving this to you, you're still expected to tip them. I mean, they're not serving you, you're not sitting in a restaurant, but you're still expected to tip. So tipping is a huge thing here, and it does add up, and it does end up being a lot of money. So in addition to the food, the tipping then puts on an additional cost, and that's why things are very expensive. So guys, I hope that you enjoyed this summary of some of the things that we didn't think were great in New York, or some things, you know, even if they're not great, it doesn't mean you shouldn't come. It just means that you should be aware of it, be able to plan for it in your trip planning, or in your vacation planning. And if you plan for it, if you plan wisely, if you budget and everything, I think you'll have a great time. And I of course advocate you definitely visiting New York. I love it, it's amazing. But these are things to just keep in mind so that when you come here, you're mentally prepared as well.
That's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget, if you like this video, like, comment and subscribe, share it with somebody, and I'll see you in the next one.